Hello everyone, Bashar here. So I do have an interesting video for you. This is a little bit of a story time. I want to talk to you about how my season starts went on. So it's gonna go a while, I would say. So if you are gonna get bored, just that this is the time to stop watching. It's just as I said, a story time. I also wanted to explain to you why I haven't this season, right, the fourth season, the channel grew a lot in size, and that happened even though I started everything late. I started the season late, then I did get into the temple late. Even then, you guys have shown tremendous support. Thank you very much. These days we are playing other stuff, and the channel has sadly the activity in the channel went lower, obviously, but thankfully we didn't lose too many subscribers. Or actually, we are still gaining subscribers at a much slower pace, though. Thank you for your support. So let me get into it. So guys, when I first started, at the end of November 2024, or at the beginning of December, an old-time friend and a viewer of mine joined, and he said, Path of Exile 2 is coming out. Are you going to play it? And I said, they are charging money, indirectly, because, in order to play Path of Exile 2, you have to buy one of the supporter packs or something like that. And then you can play the game for free. and I said, I don't really feel like, paying for early access, right? On a principle. And he said he got 2 bundles or something like that. So he had an additional key, right? That fine fellow, thank you, Squee, my good friend, he gave me a key. Or maybe I should be insulting him because, he destroyed my life. Anyway, so I was able to, in air quotes, I was able to play Path of Exile 2 upon release. And as you know, that kind of means I was not able to play because, the release day, as, expected in today's, gaming, if the game is popular, the release day will be crap, right? And, I think it's actually very disrespectful of gaming companies to do this because, they have the numbers, right? They have the statistics, they have the intelligence to analyze said statistics. And, if there are like 10 million pre-orders for your game, right, you can kind of expect a rather large traffic, and you should not have, servers that can maintain like 100,000 people, but more, right? Yeah. And, this is not Path of Exile only, right? Anything and everything is like that, Diablo, etc., Blizzard, even, Amazon's game, what was it called? The crap game, New World. Yeah, I mean, Amazon is selling servers to everyone on the planet, and they do not have servers for their own game. The game was unplayable for 2 weeks, and I said to myself, this game is going to, crash, and I immediately stopped playing on the third day or so. Anyway, let me not get into that. So guys, I started with a summon build. It wasn't this very character, but it was, you can probably tell from the name, try 2, right? So I started with a, summoner. I started with a witch, and I played a little, but the game's tutorials, as you know, is extremely lacking, right? And it had been a really long time since I played, Path of Exile 1. So I had a scepter in my hand that was giving me spirit, but I just didn't know. I thought it was just summoning skeletons. So I'm sure you know what's coming. So when I got a good shield or something, I threw the scepter away. And I'm like, where are my summons? And because I thought I would just lose the skeletal warriors that the scepter was giving me. However, I was also losing the other summons that I was getting thanks to the spirit, right? And this was on day 1 and maybe day 2, where I could barely play. I think like somewhere like half Act 1, maybe at the end of Act 1, I deleted that character. Then I switched to this fella. That's my only low level character, the Gemling Legionnaire, with the grenades and whatnot. Someone I was following was playing this, and I will forever condemn that person for playing this. It was awful. As you can see, I barely finished the campaign. I did a few maps and it was unplayable. And days and days go by, right? Connection issues all the time. Character is weak as hell. I'm a total noob, right? Making a million mistakes. And at this point, I'm just not trading, right? None at all. Because I want to get it done myself. How naive I was. So then finally, I think it was this guy, yeah. So then I was, looking around for some other characters, and as I said, this is like 1.5, maybe 2 weeks in, because I'm going roughly over it, but the connection issues persisted for a really long time, and after 1.5 and 2 weeks, it really gets on my nerves. Right, they should be able to fix that because all that traffic has died anyway. Right, a lot of people have already quit. And finally, I got this guy, and yeah, Deadeye, as you can see from the level, I did play him. So that was my season 1 start, sort of. This goes in quite a few days in, but that was my first proper character. Then I was able to enjoy some level of power. However, I did go for a relatively bad build. I went for extremely high evasion, but almost no energy shield, which sadly has the tendency to one-shot you. I had acrobatics, and even with acrobatics, I had above 90% evasion. However, I think it was like 92%. However, that 8% is still there. And when you take the hit, you can take at most 2 because, like 1,500, 1,700 life. Virtually no energy shield to speak of. Let me show you. The character is going to be broken now, but okay, it's actually a little bit better than I remember. Maybe some stuff changed. Yeah, 2k life and 600 energy shield. But as you know, in Path of Exile, this is generally getting 2-shotted or something like that. The evasion is, yeah. So that's been nerfed millions times. Yeah. I believe this was something in the neighborhood of like 92% or so. Yeah. And there are betters out there today, but this was pretty decent, back then. Yeah, take a look at this, guys. Hova before nerf. So with this character, I started trading. I made a little bit of money, and I was hoping for a Temporalis. And I guess I should be done with season 1 story soon enough. So I made the unfortunate mistake of taking a look at prices that are being listed very rarely, right? So I was at 200 250 divine or so, and I was like, I could get it. The problem was that the actual price was like maybe 350, and those were rare listings which were either market manipulation or instant bought. So I just couldn't, right? And thing is, these numbers might sound a little bit silly to you because in today's economy, Temporalis is like 30,000 divines or 25,000, something like that. So in season 1, there was an exploit that people did that allowed you to kill the last boss of the Trial of the Sekimas over and over without leaving it when he was dropping a Temporalis, right? So it's basically Temporalis duping. So there were a lot of Temporalis out there, and Divine wasn't worthless like this season. So, Mirror was like maybe 1,000 something divine then. So, it was 20-30% of a mirror or thereabouts back then. So I was able to get it, and I played the most powerful build in Path of Exile history, which is now broken. Let me show you. So this is an old Temporalis, right? A Legacy Temporalis with the extremely high cooldown reduction that you use this to blink. You have cast on dodge, you have cast on critical. So what you basically were doing was, dodge, 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 and everything on your screen would get destroyed, right? Because you would dodge and you would put up some frost walls, and the Choir of the Storm would rain lightning bolt on it. It would overkill the frost wall. Then when it overkilled, trampled or procced, And this was leading to an infinite cycle that dealt infinite damage, or very, very high damage. I mean, full group arbiter 0.3 seconds or something like that. Yeah, something like that. It's insane. Obviously was nerfed. So yeah, I was able to enjoy this build. If you are curious about the build, I do have a video from a little above a year ago, February of 2025. So I enjoyed this. Yeah. And take a look at the old ingenuity. So yeah, I think that's enough for season 1. So after this, guys, I played season 1 to its end. I think I played many characters other than this too. I think I did the... So in season 1, Stormweavers were pretty popular. I think I played this one as well. Then we had season 2. So in season 2, what they did was a little bit disgusting. They took everything that was good in season 1 and they nerfed them to hell, right? Everything that was S tier or anything close in season 1 was rendered unplayable, right? Not nerfed, unplayable. They didn't exist. No, sort of. Lightning Arrow, Lightning Rod was nerfed a lot. The Auto Bomber I just told you about was hotfixed, maybe, whatever term you use, it was unplayable, right? There was attribute stacking, Gemling Legionnaire, which was very powerful, gone, nerfed to insanity, right? Basically rendered unplayable. What else? Stormweavers were nerfed as well. Yeah, I mean, kind of nothing, right? So we had Huntress there. Yeah. So I played a Huntress and I realized Lightning Spear was the best build. I have a lot of videos for that, and some of them have been viewed a lot. And then I realized a Deadeye actually makes it better. So if you have okay gear, right, the Huntress is better. If you have really good gear, then the Deadeye becomes better. So that's why I did the second Deadeye. We also had the raw mount this season. Let me show you. And you would throw a lightning spear and everything would die, but you would also die yourself almost instantly because riding the raw mount was no joke. The heavy stun bar would not deplete by itself. Yeah, Tangle Tongue, that was that season's popular item, and of course, as you can imagine, nerfed, right? Breach rings nerfed. And also, guys, from season 1 to season 2, the nerfs didn't end there. So they added small nodes to the passive tree to make your going from notable to notable harder, right? Disgusting stuff. They reduced the number of jewel slots by half. In season 1, I had a build with like 10 or 11 jewel slots, and the same build was down to 4 or 5 jewel slots in season 2. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. Nerf after nerf after nerf. It was... So this season was absolutely unenjoyable, right? Which kind of traumatized me. This is the only season I didn't make a mirror, by the way. In the first season I did. This is the season that I didn't make a mirror. And of course, as you can imagine, again, connection issues, stability issues, ping, lag, whatever it is that you want to call, right? Terrible. So, and I grew disgusted with their behavior. So I think at this point I uninstalled the game. Maybe not for good, but, I did, hate it. So, and this season, I started properly, right? Season 2. On season 3, I didn't want to go through the lag. I didn't want to go through the unfortunate circumstance of playing a weak character because, I believe Path of Exile 2 is hard enough. So, I want to start with a decent character, then try the other stuff. I think it was in this season where I went for this Lich, Essence Drain Contagion, also this one. The Smith of Kitawa was there as well. Having a relatively tanky build was actually a nice change of pace. 75% block, 95 resistances. Damage was very much lacking. Will we have the stuff? These load times are something weird, but okay. You can load. So yeah, that's how I concluded season 2, as I said, I tried a lot of different characters. Hold up, let me see. Sorry. Oh, they are now 85. These used to go up to 95 when I was doing it. Yeah. So now 75% block. Oh my god, how are they nerfed this character? So this was 95 all resistances, 75% block, above 5000 life, I believe, and lots of life regen. So it was a nice, relatively tank character. So guys, tanky is a very relative term in Path of Exile 2. You cannot ever be tanky by my standards. I mean, the tanky character in air quotes is able to take like maybe 5 hits, where squishier characters take like 2 hits or something. So you are not really tanky, right? We have tanky in Diablo 3, right? We have tanky in Diablo 2. I guess Diablo 2 is where you actually can get the most tanky. I mean, you can actually take a lot of hits before you die, right? In Path of Exile, it's a matter of seconds. And hats off to you people that play hardcore, right? I would never dare. I mean, I did play it in Diablo 3, Diablo 4, and I believe a little bit in Diablo 2 as well. Never in Path of Exile, yeah. Didn't even dare. So, yeah, that was it for Season 2. So, for Season 3, as I said, I didn't want to go. So, first of all, there would be a lot of nerfs, right? Because they are doing that. And it baffles me because Path of Exile is not a competitive game, right? Diablo is not a competitive game. ARPG games are not competitive games. What I mean by that is, so obviously you could, compete with others to have the first, Elder kill in Path of Exile, or, first Arbiter kill, first Arbiter kill, first campaign finish. That sort of stuff is competitive. However, what I mean is, you are not competing against other players. There is no PvP, right? So something being a little bit more powerful than normal is acceptable, right? So for example, guys, we had this in Diablo 3. Some set was standing out, too powerful. Everything else was buffed, right? Instead of, nerfing that one. Why not, right? So, that meaningful gameplay I have been hearing is, I guess, is about this. So, yeah. So as I said, I was very disgusted with their behavior in Season 2. So I was afraid that they would pull the same crap off in Season 3. Nerf us to hell. Also, season start issues, etc. That's why I started Season 3 late. It could be like maybe 1 month late. I'm not very sure, but it was, mighty late, right? 2-3 weeks at least. I don't think there is anything that we can see that to do. And in Season 3, so that is Season 1 as well, this character as well. This character also Season 1 as well. As you can see, I did try a lot. This was Season 1 as well, actually. This is the only build that I created, right? I termed this AFK Simulacrum Farmer. And in Season 1, that's a little bit of a flashback. I'll go back to Season 3. In Season 1, Simulacrum was the hardest place in the game. The Simulacrum Delirium level would go up to 150% on the max difficulty, right? And that Deadeye I just showed you couldn't even do the basic difficulty. Not even on difficulty 0 or difficulty 1, however you term it, right? And this character was able to do it on max difficulty without doing anything, right? If you are curious, I have a guide on it. AFK Simulacrum Farmer, search for it. This is a build that I have created myself. And everything has been nerfed to hell, as you can imagine. So you would have a Trench Timber with +4, doesn't exist anymore, has to be +3, right? You would get a +2, +1 helmet. You would get a +3, thingy. This item has been done in a very weird way, because this was actually 22% reduced reservation. It wasn't reduced reservation efficiency. When they redid this item, they screwed everyone that owned this, because as I said, you just used to reduce the reservation, right? Not the efficiency. So this actually makes you pay more spirit per skeleton. Yeah, I mean, it was very weird. So I was playing with skeletal frost mages, as you can see, and I had like 28 of them, if I recall. So yeah, that is another item that was nerfed insanely. Take a look at the fifth line, guys. Recover all mana when used. This was quite the potion back then. Sadly, as I said, nerfed to hell. So I was able to, like 80-90% of the runs, I think I was able to, just stand still in one place. And, I would start wave. And, the skeletal frost mages would kill everything for me. And then I would loot. Then I would start next wave and so on, right? It was very nice. And as I said, this is the only build that I have truly concocted myself. Normally, I take a look at one guy, I take a look at the other guy, and, I make a few tweaks, but, I don't think it's enough to build, it's enough to call those builds my own. This is, entirely my own doing, right? I slowly arrived at this procedure, and, I don't think this build existed before I did it. Sadly, it's unplayable, and also, Simulacrum is kind of garbage. So let me go back to season 3. So season 3, I never made an alternative character, right? I just played this fella, and as you can see, this is the first time I reached level 100. So I was playing, and this character was a little bit different, right? And thing is, actually we got buffed in season 3, right? They added new socketables. There was the abyss mechanic, and actually from season 1 to season 2, our power level went down by miles and miles, right? However, from season 2 to season 3, it went up a lot, right? And I was able to make a character like it. Take a look at this. It's beautiful. 1.5k life. And the shield is actually was 4k. Yeah, that's why. So, yeah. So you could fire 3 additional arrows. Now it doesn't allow you, right? You could do multiple of the sockets. Take a look at the beautiful boots. 60% movement speed. But as I said, they are not used anymore. So you can have only 5% movement speed thingy on your boots. That 100% has been nerfed to 80%. Of course, meaningful gameplay. So yeah, this was a very nice character and powerful. And I realized that I was kind of not dying, right? I mean, rarely, but and if you have reached level 100 in this season, let me tell you, your level 100 this season is nothing compared to season 3's level 100, right? Nothing. Because, the temple gives so much, right? I mean, if you have a fully built temple, 30 runs will take you from 99 to 100, right? This is not like it. And I had to do like 600 maps maybe to get there. And the thing is, guys, from 99 to level 100, there was only a single map I was able to get 1% XP from. So, 1% for what's required. So it is, I believe, 316.5 million. That's how much when you grind it the normal way, right? So there was a map that was overrun by the abyssals, and also on top of it, it had the corruption additional XP gain modifier. So I put a more XP gain from abyssal monsters in there, and that's how I was able to get 1% from a single map. I think I gained like 3.5 million or something from that map. I died quite a few times, but yeah, this character was very, very powerful, and I was able to get to a level 100 with this. So in season 1 and season 3, I was able to get like 1 mirror or so. You can tell from my 4 mirrors, some divines, a lock, and that's kind of about it. Yeah, I enjoyed this season. The map crafting, etc. was nice. And so season 4, kind of the same. So guys, they do so many changes in Path of Exile, which is not bad, of course, but you can't just tell. So for example, guys, Lightning Arrow was this character, and I saw numerous nerfs to the Lightning Arrow, and I kind of was able to feel that Lightning Arrow was going to become unplayable, right? I couldn't be certain, but I thought so. So I didn't want to start with a bad character because, that puts you behind by so much. So again, in season 4, this season, I did again start late. Then when I started, I realized that Blood Mage was the best character, so that's what I started with. As you know, then I dodged the temple because it was just too complicated. And then I tried this character, right? This Adonia Zigo Power Charge Shaman, but the weight was way too much, so I, tucked my tail between my legs and went back to this character and finally started on the temple. And that's why those videos were so late, right? Not only I did start late myself, I was doing, rituals, etc. Then I gave up, swapped to the shaman. Then I finally went back to this guy, and then I did get the temple done, right? And yeah, then of course, divines, etc., mirrors started, flowing, and of course, the greed got triggered, and I was able to get to 20 meters. I guess I could go for 21 right now. I did have a few sales. Yeah, so 7,000 divines and 20 meters. Yeah, nothing, nothing that I did comes close. Also, my gear is also pretty good. Back then it was like 6 meters or something like that. There is this beautiful thing. Yeah, so this was my most successful season by far. But as I said again, I started late, and yeah, I just wanna dodge the lag at the beginning of the season, the disconnections, etc., the frustration, and also, as I said, I don't want to start the season with a bad character. So much so that I accept being late, but season 5 will be different. I am going to start like season 2. I'm going to properly start, and I don't know what to start with yet. Obviously, we will need to see the patch notes, but the changes that they do are so numerous and complicated, you cannot really tell what's going to be the best one, right? People will have to experiment, so you will be able to tell what is good in like maybe 2 weeks, right? From the get-go, it's not possible. I mean, I guess I'm just going to pick something and stick with it. So yeah, that's been my story. And also you saw a ritualist there, final story. I wanted to try negative rarity ritualist. However, it was very hard to come up with temple design for a negative rarity ritualist, because you should not be using alchemy labs in there that give rarity. And also, guys, I had already this guy that was printing money, right? It kinda is a hard thing to start from scratch. And also, negative rarities filter is a huge problem. And take a look at this, guys. So this means like 70, 80 in hard divines every single round, right? And also you get some vertex, I don't know, some, what was the other thing, Ratpith Globe, right? Headhunter, etc. So you can also sell them. So let's say like 100 divines, perfect chaos orbs, whatever it is. So yeah, I just gave up on it after doing it a little bit, but I like it. It could be a nice season starter. And the negative rarity ritualist is in itself not a real build, right? So the ritualist, and with their 3 ring slots, is just the enabler, right? So you can get as much negative rarity as you possibly can. You just use anything to kill, right? Whatever is good in the season. I went for spark cast on critical because I already had the gear, so I was using some negative rarity Venter rings, and yeah, basically this gear. And yeah, it wasn't bad, but as I said, arriving at a filter took a lot of work. And also, the temple is a little bit weird, closes on you, etc. So yeah, it was just too much work, so I scrapped the project. But it was looking lucrative, right? I mean, I was getting a lot of stuff, so yeah, something to consider. And yeah, that's my story, guys, and I'll see you in another video. Hopefully you liked it. There was no gameplay, maybe it was boring. I'll see when the feedback comes, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.